Hi there, I'm Natasha Tessier. I'm casual again today, not dressing up. This is my channel, Living in Houston. I'm so glad you come along for the ride. I would love for you to hit the subscribe button. I talk about anything and everything to do with the city of Houston. As always, if you ever have a video request, I'm happy to do it. I've done ones on property tax, school districts, master plan communities, Conroe, Montgomery, the Woodlands, Cypress, Katy, all those things. But if you have special requests or you want to know about an area, please reach out. Happy to tell you anything that will help. Today, I just wanted to go over about the 3 worst things about living in the city of Houston. I feel like wherever you go, there's always going to be negative things. There's pros and cons. I don't think one place has it all, but I've lived here pretty much my whole life. I went to school in Colorado, got my undergrad and master's in Boulder, and then my husband and I had to go to Alabama for a few years for his fellowship training and stuff. But for the most part, I've lived here. My kids are all born here and my whole family's here. So today, the 3 worst things. So obviously, number 1 is going to be the weather. It's humid, but not all the time. And so I always hear, oh, it's so humid and it's awful. In July and August, it is humid, I'm not gonna lie. But today, October 4th, and it's 37% humidity. I just checked before I got on to do this video. So it is absolutely gorgeous out. It's like low in the 60s, high in the 80s. So the really bad months here are July and August, but everybody has a pool or a neighborhood pool, or we go swimming on the lake. I've told you before, I have a boat membership, so we'll go surfing on the lake. We go down to the beaches. Port Aransas down south, we'll go play in the water there. So there's a ton of water parks. So there's plenty of ways to stay cool versus like if you're up north and you can't go out. When I go visit my in-laws in Montana, I can't go walking every day and it drives me crazy in the winters because I love to walk. So I would say yes, the weather can be bad and muggy. Like we just had a huge rainstorm come through for about 2 or 3 days and now it's gorgeous. So kind of comes and goes. I love the rain. I think it's really cozy. And a lot of my out-of-state, especially California, they like it a lot because they're used to it being so dry, I guess, and they're in a drought right now, so they never see the rain. So it comes through, it's muggy when the rain comes through, and then it dries out. So weather is gonna be my number 1. Number 2 is going to be traffic, congestion, pollution. It's the 4th largest city in the US, and of course, there's gonna be all those things. So traffic, the further you go out, the less the traffic is. I used to live kind of right in the Beltway at 59, and it could take an hour and a half to get somewhere. Now that I'm out in the suburbs, very little traffic. There's one interchange near me. I live kind of out in Montgomery near the Egypt area. And that interchange at 5 o'clock, yes, you might wait through a few light cycles, but like day to day, I don't really sit in traffic. So I guess the solution to the traffic thing is either moving further out to a suburb, or if you don't have to travel on those busy hours. Everybody's going into work at like 8 or 9 or coming home at 5. If you're on off hours, you're not gonna really run into a ton of traffic. So that would be my, way to combat the traffic issue. Just live a little further out or off hours. I actually said 3 things, but I came up with 4. So property tax is always a big one. People get shocked. We don't have a state income tax, so that's huge. So when you're calculating all this, when you think about all the pros and cons, we have 0 state income tax. So they're gonna tax you one way or the other. The thing that you want to be aware of, and I have a whole video on property tax, is what the property tax is in the neighborhood that you're looking at. So the newer neighborhoods tend to have higher property tax because they're usually in what we call a MUD, which is a municipal utility district. And basically they're paying off the infrastructure. So they brought in, water lines and gas lines and all those things. That rate will go down over time, but it takes a long time. So some of your newer neighborhoods can be up in the 3.5, 3.6, 3.7. We're in a newer neighborhood. It's called Wood Forest out in Montgomery, and it's only 2.79. It's one of the lowest master plan community newer neighborhoods that I've seen that low. But just be aware, if you're buying a $500,000 house and it's 2.7 versus 3.7, obviously that's extra $5,000 a year on taxes. So it can add up, and it's something you want to be aware of. With that though, some of the older neighborhoods like can go all the way down. I've seen 1.7. Just be aware of that. And again, it's gonna depend on the amount, you know, that you're spending. If you're only buying a $250,000 house, then from 2.5 to 3 is $1,300, $1,250 a year, whatever that works out to be. So that's something to be aware of, is just the property taxes. If you ever have questions on what it is, I would be glad to help you. A lot of the newer construction don't list the property tax, so we have to kind of go search it out. And that's also based on the county that it's in. Montgomery County tends to be cheaper than Harris County. It's based on the school district you're in. It's a lot of factors that go into coming up with that number. And then again, if you're in a MUD or paying off a utility district or not. All right, that was number 3. So number 1 was the weather. Number 2 was traffic, congestion, pollution. And then number 3 was the property tax situation. And then number 4, I was looking this up, got voted as one of the city of Houston, so that's downtown Houston, as one of the worst places to raise a family. But they're talking about in the city. So just like any major downtown city, it's kind of hard to raise kids down there, whether that be the crime or the type of schools, affordability, all that stuff. But the flip side of that situation is that as you move out to the suburbs, all that is taken away. So the crime rate is super low. I was looking for a client that wanted to buy in Cypress, and it's based on like a 100-point scale. And I think Cypress was like at 34. And one of the places she was looking at out of state was 100 and even above 100. And I think I will do a video on the different crime rates, but you can look it up. And the crime rate out in the suburbs of Houston is pretty low, pretty minimal. You know, when I say crime out here, the only thing I've ever seen is cars getting broken into in the suburbs. And a lot of that is people leave their doors unlocked, and then people go by and, you know, they're not like breaking windows, but they're going by to see if you left something in your car with your door unlocked. Then chances are pretty good that, again, as I've moved to Montgomery, I haven't seen that, but I'm sure it happens. But the further you go into the city, obviously, the higher the crime rate is. And then as far as affordability, like we talked about, you'd be amazed at what you can get out here. I just sold a house it was a year-old house, 2,200 square feet, no back neighbors, good backyard. I think it was a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It was built last summer out here in Montgomery, and it was $320. So you can really get a lot of bang for your buck out in the suburbs. As you go further in, of course, it's going to be more expensive. So that's something else to think about. You know, a lot of people say it's too expensive to raise kids here. Again, on the outskirts, it's a lot easier. You know, they say that there's not a lot of things to do in the city of Houston for kids. I don't really think I'd agree with that. There's, you know, the aquarium, the zoo is amazing downtown. The Nassau Space Center is amazing. There's football games and baseball games. But then as you know, I guess like as far as like riding around a neighborhood and stuff, out here there are paths and walking trails and all sorts of things that you can do out here with kids. So anyway, that whole like worst place to raise a kid in reference to the city of Houston might be true, but not in reference to the suburbs. I have 3 kids out here. We absolutely love it. We play on the lake all the time. Really great families with great values, and we're pretty happy with where we are out here in Montgomery. So I hope that helps. That's our 3, but technically 4 worst things about living in the city of Houston. And I just thought that information would be helpful to you. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My cell phone is listed below. You can call or text me anytime. If I don't respond, please text me again. I'm super responsive. If I missed it, I'm sorry, but I usually respond within a few minutes to my clients unless I'm with another client. And then you can also find me on Instagram, Houston Realtor Natasha. Facebook, I'm just my name, Natasha Tessier. I have kind of a weird last name, but it's Tessier is how it's pronounced. And then on Gmail, it's just natashatessier@gmail.com. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. Again, if you ever have questions or if you have a video request or anything that I can help with, I'm always happy to help you. I mainly focus on a lot of relocation because of this. So it seems like everybody is moving to Texas right now, and I'm happy to help you get here and get your family here. So reach out when you can, and I hope you have a blessed day.